Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Please like, share and subscribe.
Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Press like and subscribe.
Welcome to Andy Decodes. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole and into the unknown.
Hello, welcome to this Friday's show where I'm joined by SK Bryan M. Bowden. Welcome and thank you for joining.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on here. That's the first time I've ever been heard officially SK and then my name. But yes, thank you.
It's only because that message you sent me the other day explaining what it's all about. So I thought I'm going to use it.
Yeah, no. I sometimes you'll hear me on the old podcast where I do with Ron Murphy, which hopefully will do a couple of shows that people have been wanting them. I go as, he's the crypto guru. I go as Sir Bryan on a couple other shows like Spaced Out Radio, which is a great show. Dave Scott tells me I'm the guy with 9,462 podcasts, whatever it is. But the S and the K stands for Sir Knight Bryan M. Bowden. And yes, it's a real knighthood, not by your queen. But yes, I do have a plethora of podcasts. There's Warren right there. See in the chat while you're doing it. But I'm part of an appended body, and they are Knights Templars, but they do the allegory and the story, and they dress up and reenact certain things. I actually go by the philosophy of what Knights Templars were and are, and it's basically defenders of the faith. I don't have a tattoo on my chest and Dr. Jones and all that other crap. It's not I'm not looking for the cup.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, I'm looking for a cup for maybe like hockey, the Stanley Cup, ice hockey. But other than that, no, not at all. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for joining.
And hello, UK.
Pleasure.
Yes.
So, what should we start with? Cryptids.
You can start with whatever you want. I see there's already a question coming. So yes, you can start whatever you want.
I'll bring that one up then. I've not read it yet. So this is from Sober Car Park. Do you think that all strange phenomena and cryptids are linked or come from the same source?
Not necessarily the same source. Through my research over time, and let me give you a little background so you understand where I'm coming from. So when I went to university, I'm going to go with the UK version. Not when I went to college. When I went to university, I studied physics, pre-string theory, and quantum, and I studied astronomy, and I thought about being an astrophysicist. Now, I know you had my partner in crime in this investigation stuff, a lot of it, Al Santoriga on there, and he calls me an asshole physicist. So, but I studied the science end of it. I always wanted to do that, and then I realized, how am I going to make a living? What am I going to work in universities? And it's like nothing, right? So then I went into business. So you have to understand what it is. But some of the things I studied, and at one point I thought about medicine, but I've studied chemistry. I've studied some of the greats out there. Einstein's pretty good, but he pales in comparison to Tesla. And I studied, his things. If you only knew 369 and what frequency resonance is, and semantics, which is codes created from using sound waves. And through this research and hearing from people and hearing from a variety of people that have They're describing their experience, they're describing their abductions, describing the sounds. There is a certain common denominator through the UFO phenomenon, the ghost phenomenon, through the cryptid phenomenon, and that is sound, frequency, resonance, vibration. This is the Rosetta Stone to it. So there is some kind of something to do with those frequency and waves. And I think what it's like is, if you remember way back when, before everybody had an MP3 player, we had a Walkman or a receiver, and you dialed in, right, to a certain station, then you listen to what you want to listen to. That doesn't eliminate all the stations around you. They're still playing, but through sound, frequency, and vibration, you can dial in and start hearing tones. So I started in our investigations employing the use of sound and tones through the investigation. And something I use all the time is, you can hear it right now. I use these Tibetan singing bowls, and I'm playing around with them. And what that does is that sound and frequency resonance is sent out into the ether where you are. And it seems to have nothing going on. It starts to ramp up the energy, and then things start to happen. And I think what happens is you tap into a window that is, where we are is here, and they're in this window, this zone here. And if you can get the frequency to kind of gel and they mix, eventually the stronger tone will come. It takes over. And this has changed everything. When we employ sound, frequency, and vibration in our investigations, I'm not tapping myself on the shoulder, but we always get results.
Yeah.
Always. And I brought that to the people that did Alien Invasion Hudson Valley UFO. It's on Discovery Plus, right?
Yeah.
And they went, and I know everybody's on there. I know Mark, I know Ben, I know Melissa, and I knew a bunch of people, and they were going one direction. And I started employing this. We did a live investigation, first time ever that I've ever seen. We did a live investigation by this lake, and we employed the sound and the frequency and the Tibetan singing bowls, and we were ramping them up, getting them going. I won't let it go too long here. And then objects started to appear. Objects started coming in. We had these orbs that were coming down and checking us out.
Oh.
And you can see it. It's all videotape. What they didn't include in that whole thing is, as we're doing this investigation, when we first start, we employ a lot of things like phonetic generators. When you're sitting there, like house, box, like whatever, it just spits out.
Yeah.
So we started doing it. They had to get a new director for the show because the other director, Hayden, kept testing positive for COVID. So he couldn't be there. So they got this new director in, and her name was Layla, but it's not the L-A-Y-L, it's more L-A-L-L-A-H or something like that. It's a weird version or Middle Eastern version of Layla. And we're there. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We're ramping it up. Things are starting to happen. And the phonetic generator goes, Layla. And she almost crapped herself. She said, I go, and I have it. I still have it on my and she goes, what did it say? It said your name. And she didn't sign up for any of this. She thought like, okay, camera 3, camera. And but they should have kept it in there because it shows where we were. But because we use these tones, right? What happened is we brought these craft in. We brought these entities in. And we can go down. We're going to go down a rabbit hole tonight, folks. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, there is something that's like a Rosetta Stone, and it does affect the both, and you could use it to your advantage.
Right. So can you play that again?
Yeah, no problem. I don't want to, this is just one of the frequencies. It's a Tibetan singing bowl. I actually utilize an app called Bowls on my iPhone.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it has a series of different bowls because I can swipe through and I can go to a higher bowl, right?
So you get the different frequencies and tones.
And the only problem is it doesn't tell me, and this is a problem. Each bowl, Tibetan singing bowl, each tone relates to a different chakra, be the crown chakra, the heart, the solar plexus, the section. You know, you don't want to be ramping up a Bigfoot with a sex chakra. That could turn out really bad for everybody.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be hanging around there.
I am drinks for Christ's sake. But something else that I employ is, and this is going to get a little loud, these are savojal frequencies. Okay, it's another app. I use a bunch of them. I use binaural beats, which are binaural frequencies, and this is, you know, this is the 6 key frequencies that if you play, you know, it's going to be, if I'm going to put it on, let me see if they'll let me do it. Let me lower that a little bit.
Oh, so it's a set frequency.
Like this is 528. And what it does is it creates energy, clarity, awareness, and inner peace. And you can send that out. And if you start sending it out on a speaker, things start happening. Animals stop, you know, they stop for a second, they look. And when you combine a few of these frequencies, what happens is things start to develop. Give you a great example. I was telling you before the show that if you do come back over here, you want to come back over for a longer period so you can get up to New Hampshire and go to Dennis Stone's American Stonehenge. It is monolithic, really old rocks and structures. There's even a table there that looks like there was bloodlettings going on.
Oh,
but these stone structures and chambers pockmark the East Coast. They end pretty much in New Hampshire and they go all the way down into New York State.
Right.
Now, some people, even someone we know, Linda Zimmerman, who people may know from whatever, she wrote a book on them, and I interviewed her too. I know her personally, but she didn't know about this. And she wrote and basically said they were cellars, storage cellars, root cellars that you would store your food.
Yeah.
And we're like, so you're telling me whoever built these structures and put huge stones in, not like Stonehenge type stones, but like at least a third, if not maybe half of a Stonehenge type of stones.
Yeah.
You're telling me they did that to store food, and they also aligned it astronomically and celestially. And then on top of that, you know, there's no way. I mean, she was sorry. She was way off.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. We have a stone chamber we have many of them. There was one stone chamber we went in, Al and myself.
Yeah.
And it's in upstate New York. And it was like 98 degrees outside. And you would never even know the stone chamber was there because it's hidden right on the roadside.
Oh, right.
And it's covered a little bit of brush, but you could see it if you knew it was there.
Yeah.
So you go in. Now the stone chamber is about, 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
By 10 feet long by 10 feet wide. And then there's an entrance to it. And when you walk into this thing, right in the back wall is a stone that's kind of like the centerpiece. It looks like a door. It's about probably 4 to 5 feet wide. It's at least it's more than 6 feet. I would say it's close to 6.5 feet tall. And it's a center stone. It's got some moss on it. Here's the fun part. If you look at it and you take pictures of it, the back wall, you see nothing. But if you put a UV light on it or a black light, or you do like a full spectrum, there's 3 runic writing on there, which is earth, fire, air, water.
Yeah.
And that's what the symbols are.
Right.
But if you took it off and literally where the symbols are, you went up to it, you couldn't even see it. It's almost as if whatever put those symbols on the back of that wall did so that even when you go up to it and you scrape at it, it doesn't change. It's almost like it's branded into the wall, but you can't physically feel it. So what we did was we used FLIRs a lot in that instance. So I used the FLIR and this video is online. I'll try to get it for you so you can throw it up.
Yeah, please.
And Al forgot his temperature gauge. So we started using singing bowls, and I started, recording using my FLIR.
Yeah.
And I started ramping up the air with these singing bowls. I mean, I really started, just getting it really going.
Yeah.
And we started we did an EVP session, like where you're, call and response. Nothing. And then I started looking I was at the back of the wall. I could see the door, and you can see on the FLIR the hot spot, which is the doorway, how the temperature outside, which is like 90 something degrees.
Yeah.
And over time, after I started ramping it up, this purple fog mist starts forming on the outside. You can see it getting cooler, and then a darker mist forms. And at one point, you hear me say, "I think we just created a portal."
Yeah.
And in the video, and I remember this, it's on the video. It's very, very quick. We get one of these, peek in, peek out. I said, "Oh my God, did you just see that? Something just peeked in." We created a portal. Now, here's the problem with that. Because Al and I discuss these things all the time.
Yeah.
Like, the thought of going and stepping into what we've created is there.
Yeah.
But we either have to do it together or we don't do it at all, because neither one of us want to report back to the other's wives.
I'm sorry, but I've lost L.
He kind of went in a portal, and he's
still there.
What the it'd be all over the place.
Oh my God.
So what I wanted to do, and we didn't do it this year, and there was so much craziness going on. It's almost like the universe was stopping us from doing things.
Yeah.
I wanted to get back up there, and I wanted to start putting FLIR cameras in every corner of that specific chamber. It's not that big. Yeah. Have them running, recording them. And then I wanted to use a tone generator and start playing with tones and seeing what comes out of the FLIR.
Yeah. See, I've got that on my phone. I've got a frequency generator.
I have those too. Yeah.
I think it goes from 0 to like 22,800 or something daft like that.
Yep.
I thought it's going to be a bit crap, but it's actually pretty good.
It's very good.
It's really good. And it's free.
Yeah, you got to play around with certain frequencies, but there are certain frequencies around I think it's the 13 hertz or something like that. Very, very dangerous. You can kill
19. 19 is a...
And I also know 13 is there's something about the 13th. 19th, yeah, it's up there too. You can't play it too long. Basically it's a brief, like, okay, because it does something and there's a reason for this. Rife has discovered.
I'll avoid that one.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah. I'm not even gonna, because I'd be the sort of person I'll put it on for a few seconds, then I'll get distracted, and before I know it, it's game over.
Call the emergencies. Yeah, no, I don't need. I had a heart attack already last March. I don't want to plan on having another one. But no. I would actually. So here's one of my. Again, through my research, well before I met the Italian stallion, Al Santarega. And I have his sound bites all queued up, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm calling bullshit. So through my research and through my study of some history, there's certain things that I've noticed that certain cultures have depicted in their stories and their folklore, certain symbols, which it's really weird because it also has a negative symbol to it. It's like a circle that keeps on going. The negative side of that is the pedophilia side, which is, I say those people are out of their freaking gourd. But usually that there's a symbol that's a circle in multiple cultures. The Native Americans have it, the indigenous have it. I've seen it in Japan, the Netherlands, the variety in the Netherlands. And what happens is that is usually a symbol for a portal. Okay.
Right.
And it's a certain shape. And actually near all those areas, there have been stories of, like in South America, there's this one door. It's a rock and it looks like a doorway. And people said the door opened up and you can you can go in and out. I forgot the gentleman that went in it actually disappeared, never came back, but he
Wow.
went into a portal. So when I was in the UK, I was a little bit pissed off the day I went on the Bath Salisbury Stonehenge tour.
Yeah.
One, it was after a pub crawl,
Oh,
which was just
not the best idea.
yeah, no, it was a good time. I did recuperate
right.
on the trip from where I was staying in Knightsbridge. But
Yeah.
I saw all this like stuff outside. I'm like, is there fire? And I'm like, no, that's fog. And so there was fog there. So when we got to Stonehenge, which I've always wanted to see, no one was there. And I walked through the line. I just had to touch the stone. But I don't think Stonehenge in your country or Woodhenge or any of the henges are actually just structures for the druids to hang out like, oh, bloody hell, my wife's killing me, whatever, bring on the virgins for Christ's sake, I don't think it's, I actually think, and you got to hear me out. It's a theory. I can't test it. I think it's actually a portal. And I think what happens is, and what they used to do is in ceremony, they would wrap it. There was more stones around it in different layers. Okay.
Yeah.
And they would wrap their followers around it. So picture a circle and using frequency, sound and vibration and resonance, singing at different levels, kind of like Gregorian chants. They were bouncing it off the stone and they created a portal and they were able to send someone into that portal. And where they went, I don't know, but I would assume it went to another area and they tested this. Because in some of these, again, let's go back to the folklore stories. People have depicted, like in Asia, they're basically describing these unusual visitors that were wearing huge and monstrous and wearing horns and skins. And I mean, if you didn't want to say a Viking, I mean, that was Viking-esque. And I think people were like, well, okay, where does this go? And there you are. You're in Japan, modern day Japan. And they're like, Nondishka. They don't have no clue what the hell that is. But things happen. So sorry about that.
No, it's just what you said about doing the circle and the singing and that, because I know that the I've seen it in documentaries and that the acoustics at Stonehenge, like you said, at certain points of it resonate at different
frequencies.
Levels. Yes.
Well, let's look at okay, so everybody knows the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Great Pyramids in Egypt, what are they? What have they been propagated as? Burial mounds.
Well, according to a guest that we've had on a couple of times, he says that the Great Pyramid was a water pump.
It was a who?
A water pump. Like a power station.
They definitely pump water there. It's a combination of an he's 100% spot on. Most of the time, I forgot the guy from the historian from Egypt who was just so dramatic and so full of what. I could see him right now. I forgot his name. Ooh, look, Egypt is the first. Like guys, relax. It's kind of like my father-in-law say, "Well, my country invented the toilet." Like, well, you should be proud of that. It's like it's not a big deal. We're gonna figure that out eventually. So the Great Pyramid. First of all, it was probably out on the exterior covered with either metals, precious metals, or also certain types of quartz and other material. It is basically a battery and an energy source. And if you understand, water trickling in was bouncing off of some of the chambers, creating a certain frequency and sound. And I got one of my friends, he did a presentation on the Great Pyramids, which is great. But at the very top of the Great Pyramid, they found this chamber, which they thought was what would be the coffin of the king or the pharaoh. It's not. It's too small. But you know what size it is?
Go on.
It's literally we're talking about like the perfect size to put a specific object in there to store energy or give energy. You ever hear of that lovely Ark of the Covenant?
Yeah.
It's
That.
just literally, if you measured what they said the Ark of the Covenant measured, it would fit
Yeah.
exactly in that box. And what a great way to use that as an energy source to bounce off, have it go throughout the chamber, and then supply energy elsewhere outside through sound wirelessly, sound frequency vibration. You ever see the
Yeah.
graphics of it looks like it's Anubis and they have a long tube that looks like a light bulb they're playing with? The Egyptians played with electricity.
Ah.
Yeah, it's what we've been told in our lifetime is so full of it's
Oh,
when you-
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
all coming out now. You know, it's a narrative they want to put you in to keep you in control. Now it's all coming out. Eric Von,
Yeah.
Dankin, he's there. There's so much more to this crap. It's beyond belief. You know, right now they're talking about Tartania, the civilization that existed, and they were free
Yeah.
energy. And it's and modern architecture, like buildings that you see, like the Eiffel Tower, for example. If you dug down, it keeps going down. It's built on top of an older
Okay.
civilization. And the Eiffel Tower wasn't built as it wasn't built to be, you know, like a restaurant or someone's home or what. It was built as a source or an antenna to grab energy and sound and bring it down and share it. That's why the church is,
Right.
if you look at a cathedral and the way it's built, and I forgot the name of the center, they usually have a centerpiece of stained glass, and the shape of it is almost like a flower.
Yes. It's like the petals going round. Yeah.
There is a specific name. My architecture professor would have killed me for not remembering these things, but I don't do it anymore. But there is a lot of information that say that you went to church not to be controlled by some guy or girl or whatever telling you you're a sinner. You went to
Yeah.
church because the acoustics in there, the sound helped to get you vibrating higher and connecting to God. And
Yes.
it resonated because it's called cymantics. When you turn the frequencies to certain frequencies, certain
Yeah.
shapes take place. So that goes back to also a Royal Rife who discovered that every virus has a frequency. And if you can tune into it, you can kill it. Every disease, every virus.
Well, I suppose every living thing, well, not even everything on Earth must have its own frequency then.
You have a frequency, and your
Yeah.
frequency is a little bit off from, like, if you have kids, they have a little bit of your frequency, the other, you know, their
Yeah.
mom's frequency, and each one of those have frequency. It's really important. You're made up of energy.
Yeah.
And this is why a lot of diseases work off of. You ever noticed how Eastern medicine, especially with like acupuncture, and they put it into you at a, you know, certain, they're cutting off that channel for the energy to draw, you know, or they're drawing more attention to it. And
Yeah, to a particular point.
Right. So you can get more energy there
Yeah.
to heal that spot. You know, I mean, that's how it works. And no one's telling you that. Now it's becoming more known. People are talking about it. And it's
Yeah.
the truth. This is why, like I said, when I use the phone, that there's some other stuff called binaural beats that
Yeah. Well, I pretty much listen to the binaural beats every night. There's the binaural ones and the isochronic tones.
Yep. It's important.
But with you saying about, because I've had acupuncture, I damaged my back a few years ago, and I had about 6 sessions of acupuncture.
Right.
But when I've got my earbuds in and I'm listening to the binaural beats or the tones, I get the same, or not the same, but a very similar sensation as what I was getting when I had the acupuncture.
Well, yeah.
Because I'd have it in my they do it in my hand there,
but you're getting
top of my shoulders, bottom of my shoulder blades, and then down near my hips.
Right.
And that wave feeling you get going across your body is very similar So when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
listening to the tones,
100%. So if I started, I'm gonna see if 528 will play. This is gonna be in your solar plexus. This starts playing. No, not 528. 639. This hits your solar plexus. And then if you add on to this, and then if you add on to that, now you're getting different healings for different areas.
yeah,
And I can continue, and then it gets like, it can get overwhelming because some people react really negatively. They can't just have that you have to go slow. But
Yeah.
what you're doing is whatever you're listening to tone wise, if you would look it up, I guarantee you that it's going to be hitting a certain spot on your body according
Yeah.
to chakras. And that's why you're getting it. It's devoting that energy to that. I've used the binaural beats to get rid of headaches.
Yeah.
I would have tried, when you get migraines, you want to die at certain points. And so I started using it, and I noticed that it did alleviate. I just couldn't constantly have it going too long. It was all right. It helped. But something else I just discovered is, and I thought people were crazy when I first heard this, I use on a lot of things rare earth magnets. And when I get a headache or a migraine or something, and I ask, I have everybody try it too. They're these little dots, and I put them on like medical tape, put it on the forehead,
right, yeah,
put it in the back, and then on both ends of the temple. And literally, what I think takes place, again, remember, we're electricity. We have electricity going through us. What's in our blood? Iron, correct? So if you have too many metals joining in one spot, you want to divert that. So you want to repel and have them go around it and disperse it better. So I discovered this was, oh my God, almost 30 years ago. I'm sitting and I started using it, the rare earth magnets. And I started thinking on the scientific scale. Well, if you put the magnet there, what's happening? We have iron in our body. There's other frequencies going through us. Maybe that's creating a field around it to divert an overload and send it elsewhere. And I said, if it's doing that, or it's getting rid of a buildup of a plaque, as form as, iron, whatever, that's why you're getting, so the blood can now flow. Then I started thinking about it. And I said, well, if it works for that, why not put it on your head and get rid of any issues you may have with headaches and memory loss and some other things and issues. And I said, and then it just started coming to me. And I said, I remember telling this to my father. I said, there's going to come a day, because he used to go, what the hell's on your face? My dad was great. Like, what the hell are you doing? What are you wearing now? And I explained it to him. He goes, you're crazy. I said, one day they're going to use these magnets and they're going to build a helmet. And they're going to put it on, and people that have Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and other neurological diseases, it's going to be used to help them. And he's like, you're crazy. Well, probably 20 years after I said that, a report came out. They did it in Australia. Scientists are now using magnets on like what looks like a swimmer's cap. They're turning them on. And what's happening is it's doing a 100% reversal of Alzheimer's patients. It's helping Parkinson's patients and people with Parkinson's, MS, and the whole thing. It's magnets.
Oh, the neurological illnesses.
Oh yeah.
So these magnets are these special type of magnets?
They're called rare earth magnets. I use a brand called Nikken, Nikken or something like that. It's like a private band. They sell them on, Amazon and online. They sell other ones that are small. It's a lot of this stuff comes from China. And that's why it's inexpensive. But they sell a whole sheet of like 36 of the little ones with
the small flat round ones look like a little watch battery.
No, it's some of them. It's usually a little bit smaller than a hearing aid battery, and it has a little round side and a flat side. But the Nikken ones now have like a flat side and then one that has little like pressure points on it, and you could turn it depending on what you need. Ones
Yeah.
are more expensive than the other, but I buy them. They're inexpensive. In the US, maybe it's like $15 for a pack of like 30, and
Oh,
then
that's
they're
not bad.
reusable. So when you reuse all those sleeves, they just go out, buy medical tape and stick it on. Of course, don't do what I do and go out and bring your kids to school wearing it and have everybody staring at you like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? So, and then my kids were good.
He's having a moment. Ignore him.
Yeah. No.
No,
Sorry, I love experiment.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yes.
So, Sober's put up I can't pronounce that. Neodymium.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find
Neodymium.
Magnets.
So I'm friends with Sober Carper, so I'll ask him if he can send me the link.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Here, I'm gonna show you. It's NIKKEN magnets. They make a small box of them that's really, really great. I'm gonna go click on this just to show you, and then I'll share. Oh, this is great because then you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me share my Amazon page so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
And if you suffer from migraines or headache, or your kids are killing you, it's not gonna help
Just cover your kids in the magnets.
Yeah. So I just shared that. It's like, or just tape your kids to the wall. I just shared a page with you, and then you could add it into the stream, I think, on your end.
Have you done it? Is it on Messenger?
No, I actually shared it in this StreamYard. So you could look on the bottom and you'll see it, and then you could add it to you click on it.
Yes. Right, there we go.
There we go. And it should pop up.
Oh, it will do now. No,
no. 1 second. No, there you'll see my image. There we go. You got it. You just had it. Okay, so this is just an Amazon page, but
there.
I use the Nikon ones right here. It's the one with the little box across from where they give the customer reviews. I use those all the time. Those are usable, and then you tape them on and you can do whatever you want. They make the little ones just above that, which are less expensive than the Nikons. They're still reusable, and that works out well. But magnets therapy has been in use for, I'm going to stop sharing that for everybody. Yeah, no, I have a ton of books on my bookshelf. I have a lot of different books, and I have if I ever, when I used to interview people and I became very, very friendly with them. My favorite book is Manly P. Hall's Secrets of the Ages, Secret Teaching of the Universe. Go read that book.
Right. Yes.
And this is prior to Manly P. Hall becoming a Freemason.
I've got about 8 books that I've bought, and I just need to read them.
Oh, there's a slew over there I haven't read. But mind you, I mean, like my kids are 11 and 15. They're like reading.
Yeah.
What the hell's that? Rare Earth Magnets. That
was
Adam Sandler. Rare Earth Magnets. They work really, really great.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that then. Cheers for that.
No. Trust me, it's good for a lot of pains. And my kids have learned to it's that again, But when you prove it and you start putting things on, I got my wife to start, paying attention, and she doesn't believe a damn thing. But it started working. I mean, she doesn't like it because it doesn't look good for her. Like, I'm not going out this way. I'm like, I'm not asking you to go out this way. But I can put it so that it rests in a brim of a hat, so you're not going to see.
Oh, yeah, because you get the little bit inside that folds down, so you can.
Well, no, I use some of the it's called first aid tape in the States. It's like if you were going to do a bandage tape,
Oh yeah.
So I put those on. Some of them are skin toned for the most part. I mean, it still looks like a round thing going across my forehead, but I'll use that, and then I'll put the hat on so it presses against it. It really does work. But this is just part of. This has been everything I do is through a series of theory, test, results, regroup.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to get into cryptids, my whole thing with cryptids, and this kind of goes with it. My theory was always, I started with it. They're just in the Pacific Northwest, right? Like
Yeah.
Oregon, Washington State. Like there's no cryptids on the East Coast. Wrong, wrong, big time wrong. And when I was a young kid, my mother was the head counselor of a girls' camp, girls'
Yeah.
side of a sleepaway camp in the States. So I got to go to camp for free. And I don't know if it's 77, 78, or 79. I forgot which one it was. We were in a bunk, and a bunk is a building, freestanding building. And this one had two sides, so it was pretty big. It looked like a log cabin. And in the middle, they broke it off. One side was bunk 7. I was bunk 8. So when you walked into the bunk and you looked left, you see all these double deckers, bed on top of a bed.
Yeah.
My bed was all the way to the left if you walked in, and I was on the top. And it was one night I woke up, I smelled skunk, like that the skunky smell, which I was used to. I mean, it's the country, you're gonna get skunks, as opposed to the city. And I kind of got up, I had to use the restroom, and I looked in, and this window, which is 3 feet wide by 3 feet wide, was by my foot of the bed. So the rest of me was hidden. And I get up and I see something moving, and I thought it was tree shadow play. So I lean forward a little bit more, and in the window is a giant face that is bigger than the window, a little bit like, and it's fit in this window. And it's not just looking at me. It's like heads here, and it's kind of tilting, looking around, looks to the other side. It's watching. Now, it was in the shadows a bit, but I saw the brow. I saw the nose, saw the lips. I definitely saw the black or darker eyes, and it looked like a giant monkey or gorilla. And I'm like, I stop, and I'm like, okay, and I lean back, and I didn't move for about almost an hour, because his face, and I kid you not, was about 1 inch to 2 inches away from my feet. He could have went right through the glass, grabbed me, and pulled me through.
Yeah.
I wasn't this big hulking of a guy back then. And so I wasn't moving.
No.
And then about after an hour, my bladder's like telling me, like, either you go to the bathroom or you pee on Billy Carmen below you. But you got to go. So I pulled my feet back very, very slowly.
Yeah.
I slid down, and I did a dog, crawl, like a military crawl, underneath the bunk beds that were in front of me, right next to the door to go outside on that side. So I made that quick, and then I went through the whole thing, got up, looked, and then I had to run to the bathroom. And I remember in the bathroom area there's windows, and you could, there's a roadway behind our bunk. So there's bunks, road, bunk. And I'm like, well, it could be right there. So I hid by a spot where I think I peed in a sink or something like that, because it was protected, but there weren't windows there. And then it was gone. But after that, being, I don't know, 12 years old, 11, 10, I don't, it didn't register. It wasn't until I'm hanging out with Al Santariga, and he invites me to join his group. I'm his number one pick. And we start talking about different things because of the investigations and the different Bigfoot that are clearly in the New York metro, Pennsylvania area, from Appalachian Mansions all the way down. And I started thinking about it. So I went and I did a quick research. I said, Bigfoot sightings, Northwest Connecticut. Boom. And I said 1970s. I had to drill it down. And lo and behold, where my summer camp is, right next to it is a reservoir. It's called Crystal Lake Reservoir. Okay. If you saw Friday the 13th, the people that made that movie wanted to do it in my camp. That is why it's called Lake. So the owners didn't want to have that, no, we don't want the, bad connotation. I would have been like, come in, burn the bunks down and build new ones. You don't understand the opportunity. So the same summer, I had my encounter with this thing in the window, which looked like a giant monkey.
Yeah.
Right next to my camp. I kid you not, maybe 200 yards is the front edge of my camp to where this reservoir is. 2 people reported 2 separate times seeing 2 bipedal cryptids about 8 to 9 feet tall standing on the roadway over there by the reservoir. Same thing. Also, on the other side of my camp, their acreage is 280 acres. If you go over there, mountain that's there, and go to the other side, it was something called Lover's Lane. It's by an old dam. Same summer, couple was in the car going hot and heavy until this 8 to 9 feet hairy man walked in front of their car, scared the crap out of them, and took off. So yeah. So that was my first experience. And then we did an investigation with Al. I don't know if he told you about it, and there was a really interesting investigation. But in that investigation, we went to a lake in upstate New York, and you had to walk a mile in, then 2 miles around the lake to get to the top of the lake. I think he may have told you about this.
Yeah, is this the gray man? Is it the gray man?
No, it's not the gray man. He's had interactions with Bigfoot in that area. And and it's a high strangeness area, natives high strangeness. The US government at one point allowed that property to be used by a company called United Nuclear Company to use weapons grade uranium and material to create an engine, so a nuclear engine. And they had an accident and what have you. So, but the lake, and they said they cleaned it up. They didn't clean it up at all.
They did.
Kids are born with like flippers, and So we did an investigation over there. So you have to get in, about walking a mile in, you get to the front of the lake. If you go to the right, you can go for a little bit, and then it becomes a go trail where you can't walk there. You're going to kill yourself. You can't. It's impossible.
Right.
So you have to go to the left side of it. And we walked around. There's certain spots that we're going to make this a spot to do investigation. Then we went to the top of the lake. That's where Al discovered these like roundish quartz stones. It looked like they've been rounded. Someone took the time to start making them look like bowling balls, whatever.
Yeah.
They weren't smooth or anything. It was just like stones don't normally form inside in a sphere.
Yeah.
And when we were at the investigation, we had rock knocks across from us. We had tree knocks, and as we ramped up the area with those tones, and things started going off the chart. And then as we went longer into the sun goes down, we're hearing, something really big walking on the leaf fodder and making, it sounded like an elephant.
Right.
And then you hear, we're standing there. I remember this. So if you looked at us visually, I'm to the right, Al's in the middle, 10 feet away from me. And 10 feet away from Al is this guy, Bill, a friend of ours. And we're hearing all this stuff. And Al has the parabolic mic on, and he's, and we hear a tree knock on this, on the other side of the lake. And then we hear a response on our side. And we hear something moving around. And then we get a bluff charge. Like it sounded like something was coming right over that wall. So Bill, he, right behind him, he starts jetting. Al grabs him. I immediately, there's no place to go. I'm not, it's pitch black. I'm not walking into, getting into that water where it's nuclear. Nah, I don't know what's in there. So I pull out my machete. I'm like, fight or flight, right? So Bill runs, we stop him from going. So we form a triangle. Al is in the front, I'm on the side, and we're covering, and Bill is having a pissy fit at this point because it's sounding like something coming, and we're waiting for something to come over that wall. Nothing did.
Yeah.
So he kind of settled back down. We went up, we looked, we used, 5 million watt, light, nothing there, nothing on the full spectrum, the FLIR, nothing. I mean, that it was close.
Yeah.
And he starts using the parabolic mic to hear some foot fodder, in the distance. And the next thing you hear is whoop, whoop, and then whoop. and you could
Oh.
feel it in your chest. If you ever been to a concert, you know, Motorhead, whatever, when you feel the bass, you felt that whoop, whoop, and then the third whoop you still felt, but it was at the other end of the lake, which is 2 miles. And I originally thought Bigfoot is flesh and blood, Gigantopithecus, missing link, whatever.
Yeah.
At that point, all off. The only way this creature can go in a second from point A, 20 feet away from us, to point B, 2 miles away from us, is if you can open up a portal, jump in it, and come out when you want. So I believe someone asked that question, that Bigfoot and a lot of these cryptids have the innate ability to be flesh and blood when they want to be here, and then change their makeup to go interdimensional into a different dimension where they're not flesh and blood. And that's also partially a lot of the reason why you're not finding some of these bodies for the most part.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where do you, with you saying that, where do you think the bodies are going? Are they going back to a different time?
I don't think it's a time. I think it's just a space where they live. I think they come here to forage. It's like, I don't think it's like a vacation. It's not like they're coming like, you know, Sasquatch, come on, we're going to Disneyland. You know, I don't think they're doing that. I think it's, you know, it's something they've been doing their whole entire or being.
Yeah.
It's something innate that they have these spaces where they can change the molecular structure and travel wherever they want to travel. And interdimensionally is a spot. We have yet to be able to do that publicly. Who knows what our governments do, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, maybe the physical, when you go from physical to interdimensional, a different type of molecular structure to get interdimensional, maybe you heal quicker.
Right.
Maybe the wounds disappear. We don't know how the dimensions really truly work. Okay. Right. And that would explain a lot of stuff for a lot of people. And so many people don't want to go this route because they think you're crazy. It's all, it's got to be flesh and blood. No, it doesn't. You know, those tracks in the snow through a lake that's, 5 miles long and it just ends in the middle and disappears. There's no opening. Where did they go?
Yeah.
Even you had, I think Chris Reinhardt on there. He had an incident where he noticed they had some action. And then they started walking, and then everything got quiet. The birds stopped, everything. And it wasn't him that, he noticed it, but it was his partner who's not as much a believer said, something's weird about this place. And what I told Chris when he told me this, I said, you went from the real world into partially that portal that was kind of dissolving.
Yeah.
And I think it dissolves. It doesn't go like this. What happens is you get residues, and then it slowly fades away, and then it dissolves. So you went into that for a second, where after it just came out, it was closing, and you felt that quiet.
Yeah. So it's like not so much an afterblast, but like you said, like a closing bit.
Right, and he said it was noticeably different. Everything was noticeably different. There is a difference when you open when you're talking, and this would be a portal technically. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when I said I created a portal in
a
chamber? I remember I'm trying to get, actually I'm very close to getting on that show. I'm doing it for selfish reasons. I want to go to Skinwalker Ranch. I'm have some talks with people about it.
Good luck.
That are connected and please, thank you. They had an episode not last year, the year before. They had a rabbi come in and start doing a prayer of portal in this one Homestead 2 area.
Yes.
And my hand to God, if you look at this video, and I mean, I'll look it up, but I don't know if I'll be able to find it without causing mayhem with my computer and having sound, go crazy. Maybe I'll just find it on my phone. But exactly as my portal started to appear, the purple started coming, and then the darker purple around the area.
Yeah.
To the letter. And they knew it was a portal opening up. And I called up Al. I said, dude, watch this episode, because we did this before they did this.
Weren't that like the black box type thing, and you could see on the
Yeah,
thermal?
you
Yeah,
could.
because
It's
and there's another
weird,
guy, Chris Meek. We did a 4-week thing on Skinwalker. So
right?
each week we talked about each season.
Right,
So on the fourth one that we did, that was season 3 of Skinwalker.
right.
That was where there's like, yeah, it looked like a black cube, and then there's like bluey purpley.
Yeah, it starts to getting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm gonna see if
yeah.
I can find
I
this
know
one
which one you mean.
without bringing up any sound to it. I want to shut my sound off
Yeah.
on this,
So
and
for
then
me and Chris to do that show that we did, we had to watch it and literally watch and write for like 20, 30 hours.
right. It's
It was good.
it's it's an interesting theory, but here's some of it. I mean, I don't know if it's this one or the next one. I'm gonna go share. I'm gonna copy my link. They should allow you to share on certain things, but
I know. I don't know why they don't on here.
I'm not gonna tell them what to do. But every time I try to put crap into the chat, it's gonna say, "Oh, can't do it." Oh, maybe it did. Oh,
There we go.
this will take you to the page. It's either this one or the one prior to it, and you'll see
Yeah.
that purple on it. You'll see it. It's. I was like, and I'm on the phone, and he's like, "What? What do you want?" You know, Al. What? You're a pain in the ass. I'm like, no, look. You know,
Yeah.
and I want to go out there and investigate. I mean, it's just something that I need to, I need to do, but I want to do it with and help out. I mean, they clearly know they have a portal there.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
and I'm sure Mr. Wonderful who owned it prior knew there was a portal there. But
Yeah.
what you're
He
gonna
definitely
do
knew
is
there was something going on.
oh, definitely.
Why else would you buy it if you wasn't?
Well,
And
there is mineral rights there that are a ton of money to be made for
yeah,
space program based satellites and some other stuff. Yes, I'm just gonna while you're there, I'm looking at it right now. Warren Hardcastle.
yeah. There we
The
go.
Patterson Giblin film. Um, it's not interdimensional there. What I'm trying to explain to you is when it comes here to this dimension, the physical dimension that we live
Yeah,
in, it becomes physical and it's
yeah,
flesh and blood. It can be killed. I mean, you want to talk about origin stories. I mean, that's what it is. There's certain things, you give kryptonite to Superman, he can be killed. You
yeah.
can take him out. That creature, well, first of all, I still to this day believe it's the best evidence for Bigfoot
Yep.
because it doesn't use any electronics in it whatsoever. And there was somebody trying to argue with me that, oh, it was a guy in a suit and, he admitted to it. I'm like, you can't, at the time, when that took place, even the top of the line special effects could not mimic what that
No.
creature did. The arm length, it's no, it wasn't. And I'll explain something why I said that was a camera that was used that had no electronics in it. If in science, when you convert one form of energy to another, it takes more energy to convert to a different form of energy than you get. Okay.
Right.
The reason why you get blurry cameras or blob squatches or they have an ability to use and change the molecular structure to one use it as a camouflage.
Yeah.
Very much like Predator, they can manipulate the spectrum because they can convert their energy. They drain batteries because it's really easy to do, and they use that to move into a different shape and go into different
Right.
dimensions. And there's always a lot of people say UFO sightings near these Bigfoot sightings, and it's not because there's UFOs there. It's because it changes its energy into a form that is like an orb and can travel.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of times there'll be a flash associated, or they'll be like, "What's that red light?" It's It's literally this creature changing its form and being able to get out. And you're just
Right.
videotaping it, but you don't understand. A great example of that, they used it in Expedition Bigfoot. Russ had it. I talked to him about it. I said, you caught a Bigfoot there. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, you caught a Bigfoot there. He goes, what? When it transferred, when you're using the FLIR and you saw the physical shape and then you saw the dots of orbs, that changed into an orb. You saw the lights afterwards. He goes, yeah, but that was a craft. I'm like, no. That was the creature changing into what it needed to change into, go interdimensional to get out. It's the same thing with, think of an octopus, right? If you meet an octopus and you put that next to him, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the octopus can mimic everything about that. This has a little bit of texture to it as well. Octopuses can change their color, their shape, their density, their feel, everything. They just do it innately. Okay. And that's why it's done, and this is why I feel my whole opinion of Bigfoot changed to interdimensional. It's the same thing with Dogman. I'm sure you're talking about Dogman. I hate that. I hate that cryptid. I hate that cryptid. It's like really, it's not tough enough. Like, we got a giant monkey out here. Now you want to put like a hound from hell and a new with fangs. And I'm like, I hate you, Al. It can't be real.
It's Charlie's fault.
Well, I mean, it's like, like I thought they were jumping the shark, or like, oh God, here we go. The crazy people. Then you get contacted by people, and you get contacted by phone numbers that are 000, all zeros, and their government, and more to lose than gain. And you're like, oh crap, they're real. And then you have an encounter with one, and you're no more than probably 15 feet from it.
Wow. Can we hold that thought then?
Yeah.
Because are we okay to hit a break? It's only 3 minutes.
Yes, we can take a break and you can make money.
I wish.
Yeah.
We'll do a 3-minute break and then we'll talk about your Dogman encounter. Is that good? Perfect. Excellent. Right, guys, get your questions in for part 2 and we'll see you in 3 minutes. And we are back. That was perfect timing. Oh, no.
I have to unmute myself.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I always click it on the microphone. It's a lot easier.
Well, I have a roadcaster board, so that allows sound effects and some other things, and it just makes it easier because then we could do I'm on a show every Wednesday in the US, 8 o'clock Eastern, called the Three Beards Podcast. So we took our first live call, which I know we could do. And the head of our show, the guy that started, Craig Ansel, who was like blown away. He's like, I can't just believe we just took a live call. I'm like, well, we did. Let's move on now. I just wanted to show you guys something. This is something. Al's gonna kill me. Al always takes credit for everything. Love him to death, like he's my brother, but he doesn't always do everything. We both do a lot of stuff. And we were up in Red Hook, New York, near a school at a location where they have a couple of sightings of Bigfoot. And we're on this bridge looking around. There's a stream, then there's a bigger stream. And if you went around the bridge and you wanted to go down to that stream area, it's like at least a 6 or 7 foot embankment. And I'm looking over there and I start going and I slide down a little bit and I find a footprint. And we got a cast of it. And that is a 19.5-inch
That's nearly as big as me.
It's pretty damn big.
Wow.
And you're talking about a creature that's about 8 to 9 feet tall, over 1,000 pounds, and it just went boom and then took another step and went elsewhere. So
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Outer Hull, that's a crazy place, Hull. Yeah, I saw something with Outer Hull from Carr.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm talking about Hull, the UK. That place is nuts.
Oh wow, yeah. You know Paul Sinclair, then, won't you?
Very good friend of mine. Yeah, I love Paul.
So he goes up to Bempton on the cliff tops.
You have no idea. First of all, I want to go back to the UK. I had my heart crushed from a girl in the UK, just on the outskirts of Liverpool. But I want to go to the UK. I want to go to visit a bunch of people there, especially Paul. Want to go to Bempton. I want to spend a couple of days and nights in Bempton, Hull. I want to go into some of the forests that they have there, looking for their werewolf. I want to pick up another bull terrier because I miss mine.
Cool. Right. I'm just putting up the podcast that you do. Joe's just sent it, I think. So there's a link to that. I'll put it in the show notes as well because it's
not a problem.
This is going out on podcast as well as YouTube.
Yeah. I don't know if I gave you. Al gives me crap because I have a bio that keeps getting longer. He goes, "Oh, you put another paragraph in," and I'm like, "Yeah." Because
why not?
To a reason, it starts off and it goes. You'll understand, the chronological order of it. But I do have that on my link tree. I can't find my link tree right now, but I do have it on my link tree, which is always good to have. But yeah, it's a good show. It's fun. We do a ton of different things with it, so it's not too bad. But yep, I will answer any questions. Not afraid. Not afraid to do that.
Good. So, should we, before we go on to the questions, can we talk about the Dogman?
Sure. I mean, I could talk about. I'll talk about him right now. I just found my link tree. Let me see if they'll let me post it.
They should do. So I'm just moving some stuff around on my screen because
no, it's fine. You know what? It's really weird. They get particular if what you can post and what you can't post. I put it in private chat if you want to add it, but a lot of stuff's there. So Mr. Wonderful comes to me and says, "You got to hear about this Dogman thing." And it's like, I'm like, "Well, what the hell's a Dogman?" It's like a werewolf and it's tall. And this, I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, we've gone, over the cliff, and now we're all, like, what are you guys smoking?" And then you start listening a little bit. You're like, okay. And then you start talking about it. And then you get contacted by individuals that work for the government. They claim to work for the government, but then when they're calling you,
Yeah.
they call from an ID that says, military or US, United States, USM, either Marines or military. It's not difficult to fake a PBX box, but they know what to put in, and you start talking to them, and they tell you what they do. These creatures are real. They go out and they try to find them and what have you, and you're like, okay, crap. And then one time, a bunch of years ago, we did an investigation, a ghost investigation, spirit ghost investigation, at a place called Letchworth Village. It's in upstate New York.
Right. Okay.
It's about 28,000 acres of like an insane asylum / hospital.
Right.
And it was used for almost a century as a place to dump all the unwanted children, men or women or deformities, what have you. They also did experiments on these from babies all the way up to adults for, I believe it was, I want to say tuberculosis, or I think it was tuberculosis. And of course, when they did experimentation, was wrong. But if you didn't die from it, then it becomes a candidate, right? So that's how it worked.
Yeah.
So they had this cemetery on one end of the property, well away from the main facilities. And we wanted to do an investigation there. So we started to do some sort of investigation at that area.
Yeah.
And we found it. It's in a backwoods type of area, 2-lane road, one going one way, one going the other way.
Yeah.
Park the car next to it. And you walk down this path, and you get to a point after about maybe a quarter of a mile. You see this big stone that's probably 6 feet long by 5 foot high or something like that, and it has a plaque on it. And then on the opposite side of it, the road splits a little bit, goes around this mound, and this mound has it's a dumping ground for bodies.
Oh.
Yeah, well, some people, some of the family members knew that they were there. They've kind of tried to recognize, and they put names to the mound. So we started doing an investigation there, and we did a day and night investigation. We start out during the day, and we walk in there, and we're looking around, and I remember no one else was there.
Right.
And I said, let's put our stuff behind that plaque wall, so at least our back's covered, no one sees we're there, and we don't cause a problem. So we put our stuff there, and we're hanging out for a second, and we hear this 4-wheel, like little, cart thing go through, ATV. And you hear them talking. We don't know where they are. We don't see them. We don't see them, whatever. So these two kids, they drive in on this thing looking apparently for us. And they go past the mound. They don't see us because we're behind that wall. And they go up the road a little bit. And this area kind of borders alongside an area where all the power line conduits go.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which, if you do investigations of Bigfoot and cryptids, they sometimes use as a highway system to travel without any problem. But I'm in ghost mode, at this point. This is the ghost investigation, so I'm not thinking Bigfoot, Dogman, nothing. While we're there, we split up. It's just Alan, me. He goes his way a little bit. I go my way. We're doing investigations, a lot of EVP work. Then we start, walking through, and we walk up past the cemetery, up this little hill. Look around. We go on the other side. It looks like there's like an area where they go off-roading, and we go there. And there's a lot of energy in the air because of the overhead power lines. And then, we both agreed that if we were kids growing up here, this is where we'd be drinking beers and smoking pot. That's what would happen. I don't do any of that stuff anymore, but that's where it would have been.
Yeah.
And as we come back, Al's like, he's getting this feeling like a vibe about Dogman. And I'm like, well, I don't get it. I'm in ghost hunting mode, right?
Yeah.
turn on the flashlight. Or if in the UK, Mary. I'm sorry, I was doing what's his name from Most Haunted.
Oh, Derek Akora.
Yeah, Mary. She's here. So we get to that spot again between just past the mound, and we're doing stuff, and we're trying to do EVP work, and we use our favorite thing, the singing bowls.
Yes.
And we're using this, and of course, we tap into it, and we're ramping up the sound. We hear dogs barking in the background, and there's some kind of big thing that's barking. I know dogs my whole entire life. We did show dogs.
Right, okay.
And he had a shepherd, so he cut, we're all dog people. And I'm like, yeah, there's dogs there, big deal. And the dogs, a couple of yaps here and there. And as we're looking around, after we use the singing bowls, we start getting spikes on the EMF meter. And I have an EMF meter, which gives me numbers, numerical reading. So we start. So I said, if you can hear me, if someone's here, can you raise that number to 62? And it starts to raise, and it goes to 62. Oh, this is interesting. Playing around. Did you die here? If you died here, go up to 70, and it goes to 70. And now we're having a voice and response session right now. And I think we have some of it online in video. Yeah. And as we're doing this back and forth, we're like, okay, this is fairly impressive. We're recording it. I start looking around. I look up, and about 9 feet up, there's a fresh break in the trees. Okay. Yeah. We don't, other than the dogs, we don't see any birds. We don't hear any chirping. We don't hear any crickets, nothing.
Just
it's nothing. It's never, it was like nothing other than those dogs every once in a while. Not a freaking sound. Right. So we look up, and he looks and goes, "Well, that's interesting," because it is a squatchy area. They call it squatchy. I like to call it Bigfoot instead of Sasquatch. Yeah. It's a Bigfoot area. You got the power lines. They may use that power to actually, like I said, transform and do things. And so now I'm slowly transferring into trying to be on both ends of the spectrum. So Al goes, I said, let's do it. We'll do a tree knock. So he finds a piece of wood, he breaks it, and it doesn't work. Finds another piece of wood, and the dog, every once in a while they're making some sound, and he hits that tree, and everything goes silent. And we're like, oh, this is interesting. The dog stopped. So we're like, okay, this is interesting. Let's figure this out. Try it again. No response. Nothing in the background. Nothing. Said, okay, we make notes of this. And we always if we find an interesting spot in investigation, we make a note of it because we're going to want to come back to it. It may not be that day, it may not be an hour from now, but it could be 2 weeks from now, whatever the spot. So we finished with that, and we go back, and we said, we're kind of hungry. It's going to get late. Let's go eat. So as we walk out, just before you exit out to the roadway, on the left is a path, and there's a structure that's someone put a structure there, like with trees, a tree structure. So so I start walking. I'm first. He's behind me. We start walking, and we get to the spot. This is funny. We did a presentation on Dogman, and we both thought we had the. I know I took this picture. It's it's picture trees, right? 3-foot diameter trees lifted out of the ground, turned upside down, roots up in the air. Yeah. And kind of making an umbrella connected above us. Now, I know guys in the power lines work in the area. And we know these guys are union. They ain't spending time making tree structures, especially something that can get somebody killed. So a tree structure like that, not like a leaning tree or a bent tree, tells me Dogman-esque. So it's kind of in my head. I'm like, okay, well, this is really interesting. And Al keeps complaining. He hears a big dog. That's a big dog. That's a big dog. So I walked past that structure, and I kept walking down the path. And Al goes, I'm getting a bad vibe here. Like we're being led someplace, because we started hearing a little more barking. He goes, Bryan, come back. So I start coming back. He goes, look, I got a bad vibe. We're actually being drawn to something. We shouldn't do it. So I said, okay, not a problem. We know it's here. we got some pictures. We'll go back. We go out, we get something to eat, and we come back. And when we come back in, we're using the headlamps, but we're using blue light or red light.
Yeah.
We go back to our seats, and we sit down in that area. We leave our seats there. No one's coming into the cemetery.
No.
And as we get back there, we hear the guys rolling up, the ATV, and they're coming. Actually, when we first met them, when they first came in looking for us, they finally found us on the way out, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, we're paranormal investigators." And they report they're paranormal investigators. We're out, and they got out as fast as they could, which I found odd, right?
That is a bit strange.
It was a bit strange in the beginning. So I said to him, if those guys come back, let's, stop and ask them. Can we ask you questions like, what have you seen here? Whatever, because Al's now in ghost Dogman-ish mode, like he's hearing these big barks. I'm kind of like still in that, ghost hunting, I'll assess Al afterwards because I can, we can talk about this later, but I wasn't in that mode. So he said, no problem. So we come back, and it's around November we're doing this, so it's getting chilly. We sit behind the rocks. These guys come in again, that like bat out of hell, going in looking for us. We stop them on the way down. He goes, "What are you guys still here?" And I said, "Yeah, we're gonna be here all day and night." He goes, "Can we ask you a question about anything weird that's happened?" No, and they got out like really, really quick. So Al and I were like, "Ooh, that's interesting. They really want to get out of here. What do they know we don't?" Yeah, right. So it's kind of like, think of the scene in American Werewolf in London, like, "Excuse me, what's that pentagram for?"
Oh, yeah.
No, it's like you leave.
Yeah.
They stay away from stay close to the road and keep away from the moors. Yeah, we were at that stage at that point.
Wow. So what did they come back for? Do you know? Were they coming back to see if you were there or to check something out?
Who we were and why we were there.
Right.
And someone sent them out. Now, I'll explain. I'll make this a little bit quicker. We stayed there a little bit longer, and the moon was full. The stars were great. And all of a sudden, this white fog starts rolling in, typical of a werewolf movie or horror movie. And we're like, "Oh, is that not creepy enough? We're in a cemetery. The fog's coming in." Al starts acting really weird. His equipment starts malfunctioning. We do hear like a, and I'm trying to find this audio piece where I got afterwards where I ask, "Did you say something to Al like that?" He goes, "Nope." And the next thing you hear is, so if you can find that, I will play it.
Please.
I can do that. Yeah, I'm looking for it right now as we speak. But
That's fine.
but it's getting late. And growl. Oh, here we go. I think I have it right now. Let's see if this will play. This is what happened, on one of the EVPs. Do you hear a noise over here?
Nope, I do.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I'll play it again one more time. Do you hear a noise over here?
Nope, I do.
You hear that?
Like a really deep breath, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he wasn't breathing heavy. He doesn't have asthma. He wasn't breathing heavy. We didn't hear it at the time, but I heard something said, like a noise, and so that was after the fact. Yeah. Well, so again, we're sitting there. Al starts acting weird. It's getting colder. I have to once again, I have to pee. I drink too many, too much caffeine with the Coca-Cola or whatever. Yeah. And I'm not going to do it on graves. It's disrespectful. So when we came back, instead of parking closer to the entrance of the cemetery, we parked further up, a quarter mile further up, underneath a little like trash can light. They took the top of a trash can, put a light bulb in it. It was a pathway to, like pathway through the woods. So his trucks, his Jeep's there. So we walk back, we leave, and as we're walking back, we get closer. I'm on the passenger side of that thing. We notice some eye shine, big eye shine coming near the car. Yeah. So I'm thinking deer or something like that. And as we get closer and closer, it's not a deer. It definitely has like pointed ears like a Marmaduke, character. Yeah. Big body, and it's sitting on its haunches. And I'm by the car. Al's putting stuff away. We're both keeping an eye on this thing. It just is really big, just sitting there. And You got to understand, this is no more than 15 feet from me. It's just in the shadows behind a log that's in front of it, an old tree that fell down. So now I'm doing my Austin Powers pee session, and Al gets in the car. Now, Al's like, get in the car, Bri. I'm like, I got to pee. Like, get in the car. I'm like, no, I'm peeing. Like, evacuate now. And I'm peeing, and I have my backpack on, a small backpack. I take it off. I put it in. I have a machete behind me.
Yeah.
A machete that goes across my chest. And I always have one on the side. I didn't have any firearms in New York whatsoever. It's illegal. You don't want to bring them with you. But a machete, we do have bear. We have big cat. You got to protect yourself somehow.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there. Now, knowing dogs and being, my parents bred them. They showed them. I'm literally standing there urinating in front of this thing. Here's the deal. I am 6'1" tall. I'm on a 3-foot grade. Because I remember walking down, that's where I'm standing.
Right. Yeah.
It goes down 3 feet, and then it goes down further, but where I am 3 feet above it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sitting on its haunches, and you can see the snout area, and the ears are big. It's freaking big. It's a Great Dane or really big, but just in the shadows, it's not moving. And as I'm peeing in front of this thing, I'm like, right now, I'm telling this dog, whatever it is, you're my bitch. Because when you're a dog, when you're an alpha, you urinate on what's yours.
Yes.
So Al is screaming, get in the car. I'm going to leave you here. I'm like, you're not going to leave me here. Get in the car, Brian, right? So eventually, so what happens is after, I'm going, and I'm getting close to the end. And what happens is this thing just does one of these. It slowly goes down. And then it lays down and kind of disappears. Now, when something happens on a paranormal end for me, I get goosebumps. And I knew something like, get in the car, Bri, right? So I got in the car. He peels out like he's a race car, right? And all I'm doing is looking, and he's flooring it. And all I'm doing is looking at the rear view mirror to take off, right? I'm waiting for this thing to come out. It got really, really hairy. It did not come out. But later on, after inspection, again, I'm 6'1" tall.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is in metric, so do your own math.
We used feet and inches anyway, so
I'm on a 3-foot grade. That makes me 9 feet 1 inches tall, minimum.
Yeah.
This creature went up to my nose, right about here, 15 feet from me.
Yeah.
Sitting down was right here. Do you know how big that creature is going to be when it stands up?
At least 12 foot.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it was a wide, it was just sitting there. And that was like a little bit too close for comfort for me. I was very surprised it didn't do anything, but I think it was perplexed, like, is this guy kidding me? He's peeing in front of me? Really? And I think when it went down, it was going to make a move and say, I'll show you who the boss is.
You're ready to pound sort of thing.
And then boom, it comes out, and then we're out of there. So, but yeah, no, I've had other experiences with these things where at a distance, and you can see there's a snout, and they're just nasty. I always try to tell people, like, well, what does it look like? If you ever saw the movie Van Helsing,
one of my favorite movies.
The werewolves in those movies?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
The one at the beginning when they're trying to get in the cage.
Yeah, that really
then the brother gets bitten.
The pointed. They call there's several different types. They're called soldiers and what have you. And let me see if I can find the graphic. I don't know if I can find the graphic. But yeah, we did a presentation on Dogman, and hopefully we're going to be doing it. Al and I actually we're going to do a show and maybe get it done again. For do a live version of it for Pine Bush. Is that it? No. I would have to find it.
That's cool. Yeah, I always say you can always send it, and I can always add it into the YouTube channel. Do it that way.
I'll find it. I'll send it to you. But it's a great presentation. It goes on. We have a lot of sound waves and sound files. I mean, actually, if you want it, I'm going to set you a scenario. Let me see if I can get this for you. This is going to be good. That was a growl, right? So, but there's a great Dogman vocalization. Yeah, this is it. I think this is it. All right. Picture in your mind, you're out walking your dog or your cat or your sister or brother or whatever. You're in the woods or you're coming back from the pub late at night, right? And you're coming back. It's dark. You're walking down a road because you didn't want to drive. And you get to hear this.
I'm gone. I'm not even hanging about. That's me never walking around the area ever again.
Yeah, here's one more.
Jesus.
That's an audio clip out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Dogman vocalization. Let me tell you something.
Oh my God.
I don't care who the investigator is. I don't give a damn who the investigator is. They'll all lie to your face. But you're in the woods, you hear that. You're not Mr. Hero. It's tough. Especially if you don't have real like if you don't have like an M50 or whatever. And I do not recommend shooting at these things. They will come and take you apart.
No.
But yeah. And so imagine hearing that.
Yeah, I that's why I sit here with my eyes shut so I can like picture what's going on.
That's exactly the whole thing. You're walking down the street. I was telling my mom the other day, and you're like, "Oh shit, let's run!" That's it.
Yeah. Can you play it again?
Yeah, sure. I can play it.
All right.
As you want.
I just want to have nightmares for the rest of my life.
Here you go. It's 2 vocalizations in chirps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
There's I'm trying to find the other one. I can't find it right now.
Oh God,
The big bark captured. This may be the big bark.
Yeah.
If it'll play. Hold on. Is it too low for everybody?
I couldn't hear anything then.
Okay. It's going to be too low. I have a better audio file that we did for the presentation. And because I forgot to put it in the presentation, Al got pissed off. Yeah. So there's, let me see if this, no, that's the wrong one. That was the opening to our show. Yeah, they're different sounds they make, and they are big. Someone mentioned I didn't think they were that big. So
there we go.
I'm working on a couple different books, and one of which are my thoughts, impressions on some cryptids. I was going to just do Bigfoot, but whatever. But there's things that are leaking into it, and the same thing that a Bigfoot can do, I believe these dogmen can do, and I believe that they are their own species. So it's just what it can do, because we have footage of a dog. This is great. One of our friends had footage through game cameras, and you see this thing. It's really, really quick. It notices that it knows there's a camera there, and then quickly gets fuzzy, and then it changes into there's a bright flash. It's black mass. You can see the ears and nose. Bright mass, bright flash. Then it goes into smaller. It kind of changes into like that predator type of
like the shimmery type thing.
Shimmery, and then it disappears into another flash. So I think it went from human flesh form in human body, or flesh, not human body, flesh and blood form, into molecular form into an interdimensional form before splitting. So yeah. And some people are saying, oh, it was Nigel, right? It is very reminiscent of Anubis.
Well, I've seen an Anubis.
You've seen an Anubis?
Well, the top half.
Legitimate Anubis? Like, was it by a cemetery?
It was in the woods.
Okay, well, you may have just seen a Dogman.
Well, it was stood like that. It had it had like uniform patterns, so it looked like a Doberman pincher. So it was jet black, and it had the dark tan brown. But say it had a patch there, it had an identical symmetrical patch on the other side. Well, it had like greeny orange glow to its eyes,
right?
And as I'm coming around as I'm coming around the bend, there's a woods that opens out inside a triangle, and it was about this time of year, or no, it's actually November, and it was like a high definition contrast in front of like dead bark on the trees, and that's how I noticed it. And as soon as I got eye level with it, I got a message in my head, and it just said, "Shit, he's seen me," and then it just poof, gone, wasn't there.
Well, it's really interesting. They're one of the few cryptids where they seem to communicate with people telepathically.
Yep.
And it's a lot of people feel that when they come face to face with this cryptid, it scares the hell out of them. Like they can read their minds. Like you need, and a lot of times they've told people you need to go now.
Yeah.
Or they've told people that had firearms, don't do it.
Yeah.
Now, if you see a Dogman straight ahead of you, if you see that straight ahead of you, I will lay money. There's another one creeping around. They don't go out by themselves.
Well, this is the other thing. So as I'm driving up, it's on the east coast of England, place called King's Lynn, between Norfolk and Suffolk.
Okay.
And there's a pig farm. There's a pig farm on my left-hand side, which is the same side that the woods was.
Right.
And then after I pass, it's not a big one, it's only a little one, a couple of 100 yards. As you pass that, there's another bigger farm, which has got hundreds of pigs in this field. And so there wasn't much else around there, but it was stood the way it was stood, like it was a bodyguard, like it was protecting something. So it was like little ears on top. Didn't see the snout because I was looking at it straight on, so I couldn't see the length.
Right.
And as quick as I'd seen it, just gone again.
And it looked like it had markings on like a uniform.
Yeah. So say it had, so like not so much shoulder pads, but it had like a brown patch there, like you get on a like on a Dogman, and then identical that side, and then what kind of looked like a breastplate, but because it had gone before I could get the full detail.
Right. So there are reports of people saying that some of these, specifically with Dogman type of or Anubis, that's all that category. People have definitely stated seeing what looked like a uniform. Like it was, I mean, if you see some of the hieroglyphics of Anubis, you could see like this certain type of like breastplate and armor,
like the shoulder pads type thing.
Right. And when I see some of these things, when I see some of the gods, when I see some of these like these old charts and maps of serpents and dragons and whatever, and I see it in UK culture, I see it in Spanish culture, I see it in different Asian culture, places that don't intermingle with each other, but they're all drawing the same thing in the same area.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. They're seeing these things. So I believe that Anubis or Anubis-like character exists or existed. I believe that it may be still around, but not in this form. It's very interesting that these creatures are often seen at cemeteries. Could it be paranoid, fear? Sure, but I've seen the thing. I did. There's certain things like I I I don't necessarily want to see another Dogman ever in my life. I don't think they're friendly. I don't think they're nice. Some
No.
of them have, it depends on the different stories. Some of them are very aggressive, usually the younger ones. Um, but who knows? I mean, I believe they exist. Now, what you're saying is not unfamiliar to me. I haven't seen it, but I've talked to people that I described Dogmen having some kind of like it looked like a uniform. There was another gentleman out of I don't know if I heard this from Paul or not. I don't I he was yeah, I think I did hear from Paul. There were these guys that were being security guards for some area. There was a graveyard, whatever. They went up to the graveyard to do their shift to kind of hang out and kind of like, take a nap on your job. And when they pulled up, they said they saw what looked like a werewolf, but the werewolf was wearing pants and looked like shoes.
I've heard that. Yes.
And they bolted from there. So I've heard stories where these creatures are wearing clothing. Now, a lot of times when you hear the werewolf, you think of the changeling, the transformation from human to whatever. I don't think that exists. But I think these things are really, really smart. They know how to play with your psyche. They know that they scare the crap out of people. It's almost like a collective. If you've watched Star Trek, we're the Q. Everybody knows everything, whether you're in galaxies away or whatever. You're all connected.
Yes,
and it's
definitely.
they may be aware of that. My good friend Chris Evans is there.
Yeah, he's a top guy.
Yeah, Chris is great. You know what, Chris? Having two kids running around is killing me. So I've been doing. You know what I do is I do a lot of dictation and I do the dictation into voice to text. And I literally got to get like a couple of weeks to just put it all together, and then publish it out. I'll be publishing it. I don't have a publisher, although maybe I can talk to Malcolm, see if he wants
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, Flying Disc Press, maybe. It's really Flying Disc or whatever. And when I put what I'm gonna put out, and I can't talk about it right now. I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap from a lot of people, and I don't care. Because I think in this industry, some people are making business of it. I don't make it a business. I just put my stuff out. I've published Words and Muses, Lyrical Life to Poetry. This is songs and poems that I write, and I put it out there. I put it out for me. I don't care if anybody buys the book. I've given out more copies than people have purchased. Okay. Some really good stuff in there, and I wish I could put the music to it. We may do that down the line. But I'm doing this for myself. So if you have a problem, but everything in this whole entire genre, whether I'm talking about cryptids and ghosts and whatever, even some of it's all hypothesis. Everybody has a theory, and so nothing's wrong. But how quickly people take sides on these things and whatever. It's crazy.
I don't get that. I don't get it at all.
No, the new thing now is, and I'm a God-fearing person. I believe in God. They're putting this new twist of the Nephilim and demons on extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, whatever. And I'm like, no, they're not the Nephilim. I don't believe they're Nephilim whatsoever. They're their own entity and species that have been here long before all this stuff has happened, and they'll continue to be here. That's it. Yeah.
No. Can I just quickly add? So the sighting that I had, its neck was very thin. So that's how straight away I knew it wasn't someone dressed up. Someone asked me, could it be someone in fancy dress? But it was in the middle of nowhere. And that person would have to wait however long just for a vehicle to come past at that point to then pop up and pop down. and it was the colour of the eyes. It's a colour I've never seen before. Like I said, it was like an orangey, greeny mixed colour. That was what drew me in.
I mean, could it be somebody mucking about, as you guys say?
Nah,
I don't think so.
No, definitely, 100%. I believe it wasn't.
No,
but
you were at the right place at the right time, and he or she was at the right place at the wrong time. That's why,
pretty much. Yeah.
Right. And someone asked, Jojo asked, if I think the governments are making hybrids. 100%. If you have the ability to cloak yourself and change from physical to a different, transport yourself, you bet your ass that. See, this is why I say publicly, because we don't know what the government has.
No.
And I can see the government having Bigfoots. I can see them having Dogman. I can see them having, capturing these things. Even the guy that called me says that their job is to secure bases, and they have taken out these animals, and then they get taken out, black helicopters sent wherever, which means they're going to be investigated. So, yeah, I do believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said it could have been a guardian for you.
Yeah. Could have been. Sorry. But it was the way it just popped up. But then I've been back to this place. I've pulled up because it's really difficult to park there because it's really narrow and it's just grass and sand banking.
Right.
So,
you get your car hit in the process, right?
No. So I was driving a van at the time. So I had to pull up literally into the field. Then I went out and took a few photos. I'll send you the photos. I'll find them and I've drawn the hula hoops round as to where it was to where I was.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see, obviously there's nothing in the photographs.
Right.
But I thought the ground was higher than the road. But when you look, it's only about 6-7 inches higher. I thought it was like a couple of foot and there's loads of brush.
Big,
yeah. I thought there's loads of brush and brambles and all that on the floor. But this is only like 2-3 weeks later, so it's still winter time. And it's pretty much flat. You could get out and walk and you wouldn't put any indentation in the ground. Right. So as I'm driving, I'm eye level to eye level with this thing that's in the woods. I was driving a Ford Transit van. So when I'm sat up in the driver's seat, my eyes are roughly about 6 foot off the ground, make 6 to 6.5 foot. So if I'm eye level, this thing's about another half a foot. That takes it to 7 foot. Then the top of its head, you're looking like 7.5 foot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I did go back and do a little bit of research. I didn't hang about too long because I'm on my own in the middle of nowhere and I'm not taking no chance.
I don't blame you. I mean, like you have it when you have encounters. When we had that Bigfoot encounter initially over, at the lake, I always call it a depends moment. Depends are those adult garments for people that wet themselves or have accidents. And it's let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If you're not puckering at that point, then you're stoned or out of you're crazy out of your gourd. There's no way. And you always have one or two people. Well, I would have run right at it. No, you would have crapped your pants and cried like a little girl. Okay, don't tell me you weren't there.
Yeah. So I found a couple of people. After I spent about 15-20 minutes trying to process what had gone on, I found a couple of people like, do you not park up and go and have a look? Are you mental? Why would I want to do that?
But you're
not happening.
You don't know me. So Al has those things. He goes to work, right? He drives to work and he sees these crazy, like Dogman. I'm sure he told you these stories. And he's like, I go, dude, you got to go out. You got to go out there.
Oh, the one at the lamppost.
Well, there was one where he's driving in this one area on the road right out near his house to go to work. He sees these 2 Dogmen and they're on the ground. I'm like, dude, you got to go out there. Yeah, I'll go out to work, but I make him go out there because I can't, I'm like an hour plus from him and I can't go. So I'm going to make him go because if you see something there, I get it. You got to go get to work. So you get to work, but you got to go back there and see like what the heck is going on, and when he goes out there, he discovers some other things,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Chris is asking about the Mexican hearings.
No, it's fine.
Chris is great. Outer Limits Magazine. Go get your subscription right now.
Yes, it is. I've met Chris. Yeah. I met Chris a couple of times. First time was at his conference in Hull last year.
I wanted to be at both of those
OLM.
Yeah.
And then this year at the Awakening Manchester with Steve Mera and Barry Fitzgerald.
Great. That's awesome.
Chris is everyone else that was there. So it was great. Yeah.
I mean,
Chris is a
really
guy.
fantastic. And we promoted that first. I think we promoted a couple of them for the on our show. But Chris is always he's a friend, and I will do anything and everything for friends, him and Paul and you. You're welcome to the family now. And what's his name? Chris Turner, who I love, who makes some great films and stuff. Yeah. But there was the Mexican one, right? And I like Chiro sounds. I love the heart chakra. Heart is always good. Heart's great, and sometimes the sex chakra is good to kind of like like you're coming in peace. As far as the Mexican thing, I know I consider anything from Mexico down South America. I'm just going to throw it out at you. I know these creatures. I knew about these mummies long before they brought them out. Haven't I've heard about them. I heard they've been taken. I've seen other type of creatures or from really small to about the 3-4 foot that have been discovered over the years. I just the problem with when you get into Mexico and South America is there's some people that are a little bit writer's embellishment, if I can use that term. They try to embellish certain things, but I have no, I take it for what it is. I think if you give the X-ray while you're presenting it, and you can show everything from the X-ray, not like we took these 6 years ago, or this was done a decade ago. Take those X-rays again, make sure the eggs are still there intact, then that would prove something to a certain degree. But it wasn't too long after that event where someone made a replica of it and made it into a cake and cut its face off.
Yeah.
But it looked like
it just looked like what we were seeing.
Yeah,
it was identical.
They call down south or Mexico, they'll call it tres leche cake, and it's like 3 types of milk or cream cake. I would have called it a tiramisu, and I like it looked like a sponge cake that you would eat. But let me tell you something. There's a lot going on in down in where what's his name? Oh, another friend. The UFO Brazil. I mean, Brazil has a ton of stuff, ton of encounters, a lot of evidence. Peru is filled with real good evidence. We used to know Peruvians, and well, first of all, they brought back artifacts, which is like they bring me back a jar. It's like a chocolate jar. It's thousands of years old. I'm like, what are you doing? You're smuggling out antiquities. We thought you would like it. Okay. Okay. I don't know about that stuff, but but it's like, maybe you want to bring that back.
I've got a few questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, go hit me.
It's only because we're coming up to the 2-hour mark, and
I'm gonna be drinking the rest of my caffeine.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's cool. Right, I'm not doing them in order because of just because of what the questions are. So this one's from Nickname, and she's asking, has it been compared to anything known? So this is your Bigfoot. Oh no, not the Bigfoot sighting. The sounds. The Dogman screaming. The 2.
No, it has
one at the end and the 2 chirps in the middle.
It has not been. No, it hasn't been compared to anything known. It's been run through a database that they use, and they've cataloged because there's certain sound within it. But it hasn't been discovered in that case. No. So it's something that's not been known.
No worries. Right. Next one is from Sober Carpet. He's asking, are there any frequencies in particular that seem to be more beneficial to investigators?
Chris asked the question about what singing bowl. I like the heart chakra, the heart and the crown. There is a sex chakra, and there's a certain sound that you can play a binaural frequency. Actually, I think it's this coming Wednesday. We'll be playing it on the show. It is called self orgasm. And we'll be so it should be an interesting and slippery when wet show.
See what happens.
Right. So, but I would use the heart or crown chakra.
Yeah.
Everything with these cryptids, like Bigfoot in general, you want to express your attention. Let them be pure. We want to have an interaction, but we don't want to get hurt. We don't want you to get hurt.
No.
Let it be let's start slow type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah. Baby steps, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Next question is from Nigel Wright.
Sure.
He would like to know your thoughts on areas of high strangeness and portals between dimensions and areas connections to geomagnetic, please.
Right. So you're probably talking about ley lines and other portal areas and So I believe that there are spots, just like when you launch rockets, you have to wait for a certain window for
Yes.
to go through. There are known areas throughout the globe where actually first a lot of these monolithic structures exist. A lot of folklore point to, and I think portals do exist. I think energy vortexes exist, and maybe the winds and sounds converge at the right spot to have the right elements for either energy creation, interdimensional creation, portals, or something weird to happen. So I believe that they exist there. That's why strange things happen when they do, and where they do. And also you got to understand something, that atmospheric conditions like wind and energy and storms, it brings enough energy and vortexes to create its own portal elsewhere. So there are traveling ones. There's a great example. I forgot the name of the mountain in New York State, but they had a gentleman from Quebec, who was a ski patrol guy, safety, practicing down the mountain. Said, there's a big storm here. I'm going to try to get down. Goes down, disappears for like a week. And then he calls his wife, Collect, and goes, I don't know where I am. I don't know how I got here. He goes into this restaurant. He says, it's really hot. He's in California, and he has no idea how he got there. And meanwhile, there've been search parties and rescues. He went through a vortex. There's another story where a plane was flying from the Bahamas back to Miami, or Miami airport, which normally takes like an hour. And he reports, the guy takes off. He reports a fog, or like a purple fog or some kind of system. He goes to what he says was like a tunnel of air, like a vortex. And within 15 minutes, he hears a call to his craft from Miami International Airport saying, you're approaching, please, tell us who you are. So like a time slip. So I do believe that. Yeah.
That's messed up. That really is.
No, that's kind of cool, but that's something.
Oh yeah, it's cool, but it's like,
well, I was just talking about this before. Try doing this. If you know that a trip normally, like from your house to your mom's house or your uncle's or aunt's, or to your work, normally takes 30 minutes.
Right.
Pause for a week. Constant. I'm going to do this in 20 minutes this time. I want to do it in 20 minutes this time, and I guarantee you, a couple of times you'll do it in 20 minutes. You can manipulate the time space. I do it all the time with my kids.
I might do that with work and then just do half days.
Yeah. I was there, but I left. But no, you can. This is why some days the clock is like this, and some days it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Today was one of them days.
All in your attitude, your vibration frequency, and the way you approach things. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'll try it out. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, no, I think you should try it. And if you have kids, something fun to do, because one of my friends, he was talking to his mother without moving his mouth, or his mother moving her mouth. And I go, did you guys just have a conversation without anybody move? Oh yeah, we do it all the time. And you can do it. There's ways of doing it, especially when you're connected to a child. But we would play games like, I'm thinking of numbers 0 to 10. What is it? And don't give me 1.5, or it's a
it's gotta be full number.
Because my youngest, who I love to death, will be that like 1.67. Okay, you're dead. You're not going out ever. But I'm thinking of a color, and like a standard color, like beryllian blue. No one's gonna ask for beryllian blue. It's gonna be red, green, blue, orange, yellow, rainbow.
Yeah.
And then you start sending messages to people. I do this to Al all the time. I've done a remote view because I do remote viewing very, very well.
Cool.
And I
Yeah.
went to fix something in his house to see where a problem was. His wife was having night terrors. And while I was there viewing his room and finding out whether I went over specifically to him in bed, it went blue monkey, big banana, blue monkey, big banana. And I said it like 30 times and waiting for him to come back to me. I know I had this dream about a blue monkey with a big banana. It's just, it's a test for me too. I've done that with people, and then they've said the word back to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he must be.
That is so cool. That really is.
Oh, I screw around with like that all the time.
But me and the missus do. We'll be watching TV, and they'll say something, and we both pick the most randomest, usually a line out of a song, and we just sing it at each other. And we're like, have we really just done that? We could have chose any song,
you're connected,
any line, and it's just, we both look at each other and it just comes out. Yeah,
that happens. That happens with like twins do this all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there used to be like a show where mother's like, oh my God, she's in trouble. You just know when like you'll just be sitting there. I don't watch TV anymore or whatever. You'll sit there and you go, yep, she's in trouble right now. She's gonna have and as soon as they say it, ow, I'm like, what were you doing? I'm like, how'd you know that? My wife did that too. Like I have those moments where my wife came to me one time and talking about a friend whose daughter was working with her during the summer, and I'm sitting there trying to watch something like, I think it's like Skinwalker Ranch recorded a bunch of years ago. She goes, and she had these headaches and blindness, and without missing a beat, I go, she has MS. And she's like, no, she doesn't have MS. I said, okay. I started watching my program. So about a month later, she comes to me, she goes, out of the blue, no context, I'm trying to watch something. She goes, how'd you know that? I said, how'd I know what? I'm watching something. How'd you know that? I'm like, okay, how did I know what? And I'm like, and then I have to go, like, you keep asking me, how did I know that? I don't know what you're talking about. You're coming out of context. How did you know that girl had MS? And I tell her the same thing. If I told you, you wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
Because you just know. This is how it works.
Yeah. Totally agree. Right, I've got another question for you from Warren Hardcastle. And this is, does Bryan feel that I can't even pronounce that name, Let's Callum.
Oh, yeah. I know you.
That guy created the Carol Castle using frequencies.
I do believe he used semantics and frequencies to levitate objects. I also believe that's how it was done in Egypt. You can use sound to levitate objects and move them.
Yeah.
So yes, and it's really interesting. All the most of the stones, the coral stones, had big copper pieces through them. And the reason why copper translates frequencies really, really well, that's why they use it in phone conversations, because it's good with sound. Yes.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And that
is Mr. coming back on you? I heard Al was supposed to be on or whatever eventually.
Yeah, I was speaking to Chris on Tuesday.
Right.
And he was saying that him and Al are going out Halloween to Al's area or something.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So I'm trying to get him back on. Just let me have a quick look.
Yeah, you're gonna probably have to do that like November to really get a response.
Yeah, so it's going to be hopefully the week after. So it's going to be the 3rd of November. I've had to move a few people about because I'm doing the Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays now.
There you go. Well, if it's Wednesday at 8:00, I'll
So I mean, either going to do Friday the 3rd, or it'd have to be Tuesday. Oh no, Chris can't do Tuesdays because that's when he does his podcast.
Yeah, Chris does it on Tuesdays. I do Wednesdays. So whatever date it is, if it's Friday, that'd be great. Whatever.
Well, what time?
I'll
Your
Bucky does
time?
it.
Yeah, what time?
Chris
Your
does
time?
his- my time would be Chris does his about 8 or 9 p.m. and you're about 5 hours ahead of us, so it's like 2 in the morning. You
Oh,
guys?
so Tuesday wouldn't matter then, would it?
I don't think so. Well, yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
could do the
because
Tuesday
it's
because
like
it'd be.
time.
So Chris is in Connecticut, isn't he? So that'd be 5
Eastern-
hours.
He's Eastern Standard, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 p.m. It depends what time he gets out of work as well, because I know he gets home around 3-4 o'clock.
Yeah, and then
depending-
right.
Yeah.
For him, that's where it would be. I mean, Al's a grandpa now. Well, he's old, always old anyhow.
Yeah. Unless we just
Tell
do
me.
it on a random day and it doesn't matter. We could do
No.
Saturday or a
Look,
Sunday,
bring
whatever.
them on. I'm sure they, I'm more than happy to help and pop in. I'll be very good and quiet, and I can only play the Al Santoriga,
But I know he's full of shit.
That's what I can play in the background.
Yeah, I need to get myself a soundboard. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a Roadcaster. It's worth it. They make a new one now, and you can put your phone into it.
Oh,
and
you can choose what button does what, can't you? And just link it to the PC.
It comes with 2, 4, 6, 8 buttons, and then you have like 7 slots that you can like create 8 different slots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put that in there, and then I put some Galaxy Quest stuff. And then I have
Shall we play a game?
Fun stuff like that for the show.
That's
My
cool.
pleasure, nickname. It's been a pleasure being on.
It's been great. Loved it. Every moment. It's just awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I hope everything is good in the UK, and God bless everybody there. And see you soon, Susie, on Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
She's awesome. But I do appreciate being on, and if you want me back, I'm back.
Oh, definitely. Without even don't even have to ask.
I appreciate that. And if you get me an Al on, we can forget it. I hope you have like 4 hours, because we're gonna do 10.
Well, yeah. There's something I'll ask you once we go off air, because there's something I'm going to be doing in the new year, but I'm going to need to. It's going to take a bit of organising to get it started, but I think as long as everyone who wants to participate can, then there shouldn't be any issues with it. It's one of those.
Sounds like a plan. If you want, just so you know, I know a bunch of people as far as Bigfoot guys like Stevie Strings, Stratford, who's out, who's also a hell of a guitar player. He makes movies too.
Oh wow,
he's out of Florida. He's a great guy to have on. And I'll hook you up with some other people that are researcher investigators that are wonderful. I mean, have you ever had Andy McGrath on for
no.
Beast of Britain? Oh, you need Andy on. Andy's
great.
UK.
Yes,
he's on. If there's a new series called Weird Britain.
Yeah,
he's on.
I don't know why he shouted them, but
well, no, he's on that. He kind of became the focus on there. He's a wonderful guy. So maybe you guys could hook up. And I think Al hooked you up with Dave. What's his name? So you guys can kind of meet up, or did he? I don't know. There's a couple guys from the UK that are great.
Yeah, there's loads. He's Nicole Shivatone. So she's a paranormal investigator. There's a team of them. There's 3 of them. Full Moon Paranormal.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're coming on in a couple of weeks, but they're coming on as a team.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, I'm just changing the structure of how I do this show and just bringing new things into it. So
yeah, I mean, we just broached the subject and different things. You didn't even get into the Mandela stuff and
that is just something
I have
else.
Mandela stuff. I can tell you about Atlantis. I mean, there's a lot of really weird things. But,
the list goes on.
But,
I think we just need. Well, I'll just get you on to do a show for like solid month or something.
Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. I love the UK.
Definitely.
Someone can send me a bull terrier.
Joe's the one. So Joe, the Mod, forgot which was it. She's on a lot of the dog sites, like rehoming dogs.
Oh, I wish I had a bull terrier. He was my first kid, and unfortunately, even though the test said that he didn't have it, he had kidney failure, and yeah, that was so. My kids now want to have that. They're working their mother like, can we get a dog? But they want something like anything under 60 pounds is a cat in my book.
Right.
So you have like, like a little poodle. You're like, what? No, that's a cat. I want a dog that has,
a real dog.
Well, my dog was, his father was #1 in the country or even the world, bull terrier show dog. So for 9 years. So I didn't want to show him. I just wanted a bull terrier. And that's, so I showed him, he was like, so he had his full twigs and berries, if you get what I'm saying. He wasn't
removed.
He just let him hang out,
Yeah.
So I love the dog rescue. Don't get me wrong. I'm a dog person. And when the kids get older, I'm going to become a rescue for some dogs. So I'll be the pit stop. And this way I get the best of both worlds,
Yep. Right. I am going to have to bring this to an end. I could talk for the rest of the weekend with you. So it's just unfortunate that
it's a pleasure. Oi, it's a pleasure.
Yes, definitely was. But, yeah, we'll arrange something for you to come on, either back on your own or with the guys, and the other stuff that I've got.
I could be a surprise guest coming on. I like to ask questions to Al and Chris. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's good. That'd be funny. That'd be really funny.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna have to end this now.
Sure. Bye. Put the 3 minutes on.
So I'll just update on who's coming on next. So next Tuesday on the 3rd, we've got Paul Blake Smith talking about the 1951 Missouri UFO incident. On the 4th, Wednesday the 4th, got Amanda Quill going to be covering spirit animals. Next Friday, I don't have a stream because I've got a family engagement that I cannot get out of no matter what. And then on Wednesday the 11th, we've got Preston Dennett coming on, and he's going to do step-by-step on how to do astral projection and help us.
I'll tell you what, I'd love to come on and I'll teach you. We'll have a remote viewing session where everybody in this audience can take part in it.
Yes.
I do this all the time. We'll get 5 targets. And we'll go through a meditation process with pen and paper, and then you'll see what the target is, and then we'll wrap it up, and this is how we'll start it.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%.
You got it.
Nice. Thank you.
Obligation
Appreciate it.
Out of, in other words,
I
translation
cannot wait.
will kill me if I don't go.
Pretty much, yeah. Right. I'm going to have to end this now because she's going to kill me because she'll be wanting to go to bed soon. And I'm taking up all the room. Right. Cheers. Thank you to Bryan for coming on. Absolute legend. You really are. So, everyone, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Don't forget the competition that I'm doing to win the Cursed Pebble of Cannock Rock and a Bible to go with it, just in case you need to recite some chapters out of it to protect yourself. That's ending 8 p.m. on Wednesday when we do the show with Amanda. So have a great weekend, everyone, and see you on Tuesday. Thanks again, Bryan. Absolutely loved it. Take care and good night.